contractor first needs to understand their consumer journey, their consumer buying process. And the reality is they're all the same.
It's not about it's not about the equipment, it's about the install. Like, it has to be done right. Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the HVAC and Plumbing Hustle Podcast. And today I've got Paul Redman on from Contractor Commerce. How you doing, sir?
I am entertained already, and we haven't even started yet. So
good. And you've got the voice for a podcast, which is, can you just give us like a little like where you're at in the country real quick? Just like as a radio man.
I mean, I'm not as a radio man, but I'm in North Carolina.
Okay. You just got that voice that I feel like
Yeah.
you should be able to like kind of sing-song us through the day here. We're talking about HVAC e-commerce, and there's two ways that this is going to happen. There's the giants of the world. There's the manufacturers. There's HVACdirect.com. And then there's ways to do this yourself on your website and take control of the situation. Paul Redman runs one of those companies, Contractor Commerce, which allows you to fully check out on your website. Essentially, it's e-commerce. Paul, what brought you to this whole game?
Yeah, so I've been in HVAC my whole career, since really day one of getting out of school, and I've just been passionate about the industry, and have had the opportunity to work in some really, really interesting spots, literally all across the country. I'm in North Carolina now, but worked with manufacturer and all sorts of different things. And this trend of what the future could look like for contractors, what the future could look like for manufacturers and distributors isn't a new, it's not a new conversation. It's been a conversation that's been happening for a really, really long time. And if you zoom out and you look at other industries, you look at other countries, you look at other countries that now have executive leadership roles here in the US in manufacturing, distributing, and just the general human behavior of trying to cut out the middleman. There's a climate for some change and some transformation in the HVAC industry. So I landed here because I have a view, and I've had this view of the future or the view of the industry since I got into the industry, that things could be a little bit different. And so that's why we've launched Contractor Commerce, and there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, that's how I ended up here. Just I'm an industry guy that sees where it's going.
Sweet. I'm kind of like the opposite in a way. I'm not an industry guy. I'm new and fresh. And I'm like, why is there not more of this? You know what I mean? Like, based on where we're at with society, with a lot of other industries, the expectation, pricing transparency is a big thing for me in marketing. Pricing transparency, I believe, is important. Why are we more expensive? What are we offering? Those types of questions are interesting to me as a marketer. Like, I believe that you can answer those questions and still successfully sell.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
not more popular because for years and years and years, it's benefited contractors and should to be the gatekeeper of that information until you're at a point where you can have the most influence, which is in the home. Well, now people don't wait for people to come to their home before they want to reduce anxiety, reduce uncertainty, and gain some confidence in the buying process. So they go online, they search, and then they find people like we were talking about before this. They find direct sellers, they find manufacturers. I mean, Tim, you can go to Lowe's.com, HomeDepot.com, and get fully installed HVAC system for $2,300-$2,500. And it's already happened in water heaters. And the plumbing industry has already been through this. I mean, you can buy a water heater for $800 at Home Depot. You can have one of their professional service companies install it, or you can have your brother-in-law who does some side work install it. So
I hear those water
they're
heaters aren't that great, but yes.
I mean, one would argue, but I mean, there's so many different dynamics at play here. But our view, you mentioned e-commerce. When we first started Contractor Commerce, one of my initial hesitations early, first couple dozen customers was the word e-commerce is so polarizing because it means you're transacting online, right? And it's just a scary word. Plus, e-commerce encompasses like a broad range of business stuff. And that's not what we set out to do. We define e-commerce as letting the customer go as far through the buying process as possible on your company website, right? On your company
Mm-hmm.
website, on your terms. And that might be physically purchasing products like air filters or humidifier pads or UV bulbs or those high touch, high frequency homeowner grade types of things that we ship for customers. Or it could be letting a customer get a monthly price on a fully installed system, or see how much it would cost. What would a monthly payment be on a water heater? And so, yeah, that's our view is let's let the customer get as far through the process. If they want to check out with a credit card, you can let them do that, although that's another conversation.
So you said that there's actually areas of the world where this is like the way it's done, the kind of e-commerce for HVAC systems. Is that like what percentage and where in the world?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a little bit of nuance to it, but if you look at Europe and East Asia, Japan and China, I mean, most of that stuff, most of that equipment, one, it's ductless, but two, is sold direct to consumer through retailers, right? And a lot of those companies have made their way into the US either by acquisition or by launching new markets. But it's happened in all, I mean, water heaters being an example. But this idea of a consumer just wanting to kind of get to the source, and I'm lifting up my phone here, to get to the source and get a price on something and then engage with the contractor is not new.
Hmm.
Our play at Contractor Commerce is helping contractors do that on their terms, right?
Hmm.
And,
Well, there's
avoid.
questions about what's the source, right? Like you think about cutting out middlemen. Let's have an existential conversation here. The installer is not a middleman. The
Correct.
the manufacturer is not really a middleman. Like anything that gets it to here to there, there might be some steps, right? You got manufacturers, reps, all these different things. I mean, this is an interesting industry. I was not, I had to like learn a little. I still don't know all the different steps that it can take to go from this to this. Seems like a lot. But at the end of the day, like the installer is not a, you know what I mean? It's not a middleman if you install the work, and it's such an important part. And I think like, I mean, I'm not like a shill for Joe Crisera or anything like that, but you think about like, he talks about like sometimes if you're doing a repair, you can position it as all the parts are free. The service is what you're getting charged for. And like, there is a certain amount of, I mean, I'm not going to say there's a huge, what is the difference between you as a high end HVAC contractor versus like the Home Depot guy that shows up and clunks around and leaves and barely talks to you? Like, is there a difference? Because sometimes there's not. Like, right? Like, if there's not a difference, you should be concerned. Like, it's why it's. But homeowners on average, like I know I will pay for service. Right, like I'm the type of homeowner that will pay for like communication and making it easy for me, and like uh, easy scheduling and like making my family feel safe and comfortable and cleaning up after themselves. And there's a lot of little things like that that actually do make an experience better. Now, how much more will I pay for that? That's a real question. It gets to an existential question now where it's like, okay, if we give them this price on our website, we also kind of have to answer that second question, which is why are you more expensive maybe than other options?
Yeah.
Just scary. Like that's why I think like a company like ours, and I know you work with other great marketing companies out there, but a great website that this is couched in, and I've seen your websites or your tool on some great websites out there on the internet. There's some awesome contractors. I think Anchor Heating and Air was one I was looking at recently. Um, and it with a website like that, and that's not our website, but it's a great web designer's website. It's like you can feel the difference. This is a high-end contractor. This is it's a brand. They're showing their customer service. They're like really communicating their differentiating features. It makes more sense in that situation. I'm sure you've also put your guys' tool on websites where it's like, I don't know that somebody's going to make a purchase decision on this website because this website is not really doing it, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you wish was on the websites that your tool was couched in? What are some things that you'd like recommend people maybe they're already using contractor commerce? What are things that you think people should have ideally when presenting this tool on their website? Anything that
Yeah.
would help to give more to to make the more likely somebody would check out or really follow through.
Yeah, I think it comes down to a contractor first needs to understand their consumer journey, their consumer buying process. And the reality is they're all the same. Every contractor who's looking for either demand service, maintenance, or replacement, anything related to HVAC, their buying journey is the same. So if they're landing on a website, what are they there for? What are they looking for? And I think you've gotten to know Marcus Sheridan. I think the question, like what's his book called? You ask or they ask, you answer, right? It's as
Yes,
simple
sir.
as that. Like what is it? What is the customer looking for? With HVAC, it's really, really interesting. This is not, we're not looking at Nike shoes. We're not looking at, an appliance for a home. This is a once in a lifetime purchase, maybe twice, and the amount of misinformation and the amount of anxiety and confusion is super high. That's why you're there at the website. You're there to Q2. You're not there to read about what happens in cold nights in Anoka, Minnesota on some SEO blog page, right? You're there to figure out how quickly can they take care of your problem? Are they equipped to take care of your problem? Do they help customers like you? And then how much is this going to cost me? They're used to not being able to find that cost information on a contractor's website. So they'll go online. And when they go online, if you go to, and you're an SEO, you know this, if you go to any market in North America and you type how much is an air conditioning repair, how much is an AC price, how much to change out a 2-ton mini, whatever the search term is related to price, you'll find an entire search engine result page of non-contractors. You'll find retailers like Lowe's, Home Depot, Costco, etc. You'll find
Yeah.
Amazon. You'll find technology companies like Home Advisor, Angie's List.
I was actually just doing this today because we were talking through this new world of like, like people can put this in their chat GPT, right? They can ask questions. They can try to get a price estimate on chat GPT, and that's kind of an interesting thing. And it will link back. And so we're like, how much does a new HVAC system cost for 2,000 square feet? Which actually has quite a few people searching it. It's like 2,400 people searching it a month. And both of the ways that people, the two websites cited in the answer and linked off to are Angie and Modernize, which are lead sellers.
So to that point, Tim, the problem that creates for contractors is they all, you know this, you're an SEO. They all need lead gen. They all need consistent inbounds. They all need to keep their calendars full and keep their people and keep the lights on. And so they end up paying for leads from a company like Home Advisor, Angie's List, Modernize, which none of those brands exist because they're great brands. Like no one's thinking, I'm going to go to Modernize. I'm going to go to Angie's List.
Yeah.
No, those are the companies that have realized there's a massive gap in search
Yeah.
with the most basic fundamental commercial questions like how much does something cost? So that's
Hmm.
part of it. But
And they also get the lead because they give low prices, or they do something like this with a gated price and then put in your email and then you'll
yeah,
get a
yeah.
number. So, but it is bad for the contractor, if I could say that, just because they are baiting people with low prices, and then we wonder why this lead is so hard to close. They told the person that the water heater was going to be $2,500, and it's like we're not doing it for that, so we shouldn't be confused that it's a little hard to close that deal. So
Yeah.
like we're not the ones giving the information. You lose control.
Hmm. Yep. That's exactly right.
And I can kind of see as a manufacturer though, like how I'd want to kind of like decrease the power of like maybe just get a little bit more of the pie, like if
You're you're touching on something
yeah.
very, very interesting, which brings up a whole nother point. There are manufacturers who sell direct to consumer. There are manufacturers who all have their toe on the line to see which one's going to go first. And some have done it by way of third-party distributors. So one of the largest manufacturers in the world and the leading manufacturer in market share in the US, I won't name names, but great company. They have 13, I think it's now 14 approved direct online resellers who can sell equipment direct to consumer and put a
Mm,
pallet of their equipment directly on and get a piece of that, you know, a piece of that equipment. I mean, think about this, Tim. You're relatively new to this industry, so this might be helpful. Like you might have a manufacturer, which these are big, hard, complex companies, in most cases publicly held companies to run. They're really, really, really hard to run, right? You might have 25, no, maybe not of that, maybe $1,800 worth of raw material turns into a $20,000 install. Like the contractor does make the majority of the gross profit there, and they
Yeah.
should, because they're the last leg of the value chain. They're the
Hmm.
ones that are warranting it, installing it, etc. But there are eager eyes at the other end of that value chain going, why can't we just sell it direct for 4 grand and use a
Hmm.
marketplace to do the labor? So
Hmm.
those things are out there. But yeah, you're touching on a very, very
Yeah.
sensitive
It's
subject for contractors.
it's a good one. It's a really good one. We could simmer here for a little bit. I think like it's why you'll hear contractors when you talk about, hey, what's the best manufacturer? Like I just go up to this is the beauty of being a new guy is I just run up to people and ask the question. Like literally, we've been running up to people at conferences and asking people dumb questions, which is like, hey, we get a lot of information that way. Some people might hate us, but I love that their main answer is the it's not about it's not about the equipment, it's about the install. Like it has to be done right, right? And you think
Yeah,
about how much work it is to keep installers around and at a company and available and like and that is part of the customer experience. So I think if you really broke it down for homeowners of what they're paying, like I know no one wants to do that. They don't want to just be transparent about where everything's going. But because maybe this we're scared they'll misunderstand. But I think if you really broke it down, you said, "Oh right, well we're taking this much because guess what? It takes a lot of money to train these people, and to actually make their customer service like tolerable at least, and then like we have to like keep them around, and like even when it's slow, we have to keep them around, and they're available for you, and then we get them. We have trucks and we have equipment and all these parts, and then we'll actually like service your equipment afterwards, like which is a lot of work actually, and there's so
yeah,
much that goes into it. I think people are a little there's I don't think that would confuse a homeowner. Like if you really told them, like, and I am just a homeowner really when it comes down to it. So I'm not confused that it takes, and I'd prefer to pay that than pay for like Home Depot, who I'll never see again and probably doesn't service equipment. And you know what I mean? Like I assume rightly so, because I've been to Home Depot and been like, had bad customer service, that there's going to be customer service problems on every level of their install team as well. And probably not a lot of loyalty in their staff. So basically, what I'm saying is, I see why so much like people are appropriately paid usually. You know what I mean? Like these HVAC companies are generally appropriately paid. And yes, you have like a few people up at the top end of the pricing chain that might be like perceived as ripping off homeowners. But like I think that's a lot less people because I don't think homeowners are that easy to rip off. Like so there maybe somebody might disagree with me on that, but there's really a lot of people that are doing the Lord's work out there is what I'm really saying. I think you're doing the Lord's work. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think you should be appropriately paid for it. I think the manufacturers, if they like really want to try to come into that, like have fun. And I think you should know how good you got it, not having to deal with homeowners.
that's it's a valid point.
Like, isn't it beautiful? You could just make something and then not have to like deal with the end final customer who are like they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. You have to educate them so much. It's a lot of education. It's really hard to do all that education from on high.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough business for sure.
And I guess like, is there kind of contractor that you guys find that usually does this? Like what are the patterns and the people coming through your guys' sales process? Why are they eager to work with contractor commerce? What are the types of things they have in common sometimes.
Hey there, are you a home service business owner that's tired of your answering service just kicking the can down the road? Well, we can help. Pink Collars will assign a dedicated, supported, and trained individual to answer your phones, emails, texts, and even more. Give us a call at 888-325-7465, or better yet, check us out online, www.pinkcollars.com.
Yeah, good question. I mean, most of them are obviously growth focused, and they want to be the best in their market. They want to be different. They want to be easy to do business with. They're not afraid. Most of them are more expensive pricing wise. They're not. We don't get people who lead with low price too often. Most of them are very, very. I mean, they've got all the processes dialed in. So you think of the companies that are, you know, part of best practice groups that have been around a really long time and they stick with their marketing agencies. And yeah, those are the companies who have the most success with us.
Disgusting. They stick with their marketing agencies? What are they doing?
Well,
You're supposed to
it's one
switch
of the,
up every 3 months.
yeah, it's actually one of the challenges we face early is like contractors are used to switching marketing companies
Yeah.
every year or so.
Yeah.
And they do that with technology too. Well, yeah, that's been, fortunately ours is agnostic of that. So we're not, but, contractors are always looking for new and fresh
Hmm.
you're probably the beneficiary of that for now on the front end, and then you'll suffer from that on the back end.
No, I know. I think it's a great, beautiful dilemma. I know it's fun because people are excited about us and the industry, and we're super excited to get new clients. But I also like I we try to, it's so funny. You're doing audits or whatever, and you're in the industry, like we're doing PPC audits and SEO stuff and whatnot, and it's like to come back with they're doing a pretty good job. It's funny, people don't want to hear that almost like on their stuff. They always want there to be more and better. It has been
Yeah,
a tough couple like this last year, like being demand down a little bit and organic suffering as well. I mean, Google's got a little bit of a traffic decline kind of happening. I think it's partly from all the AI tools, no click searches and things like that. So there's a little bit of like a web. It's not even like a huge massive decline. It's more just like it's not going up at the astronomical levels that it used to. And
yeah.
we obviously just experienced this beautiful boom for 3 years with COVID from just like people being stuck in their houses and stuff. So I think people were like, had to come to terms with that this last year. I'm grateful that we didn't have a ton of new clients on that
Well,
year because that would have been bad. But I hope that this year, as we get a bunch of the new clients, you do benefit when things are going well in the economy as a marketing agency. And it is painful for all of us when demand is down a little bit.
well, and the playbook for how to grow a marketing agency in the trades has been written, and it doesn't need to be rewritten. You can play the same, like, "Hey, your marketing agency's screwing you, bro," and that will work for a very long time in some segment of the
I
market.
I
But
hate
that's
that one. That is the game that I will not play though. I won't play the your marketing agency is screwing you game. I think so, like I probably accidentally did variations of that for years ago, like 2, 3, 4 years ago, just because you're new and you don't realize everyone's already been doing that and it's really boring, and then you have to actually like deliver and make sure that you're not, what I mean, like so. I just want to do it. I think I want to build up I'd love it if we can do a lot less of that. But I think there'll always be a fresh new wave of young bucks that think that they're not, that their shit doesn't stink, that are gonna like come in with that. So that's what you always feel it, but I don't want to live like that. It's a weird thing with agencies, man. It's
and
tough.
I mean, you can get into that too. Like with audits are really, really tricky. It's good
Yeah.
to get those diagnostics done, but yeah, it's super tricky.
Yeah, because there really is, and I'll do one for you. Trust me. If you're watching this, I will do, we'll do an audit for
Oh,
you.
I'm sure.
But I'm sure you will. Yeah, but there's no way to like there's no objective audit. on your SEO, your PPC. Like ours look legit. You know what I mean? Like they look clean, they're beautiful. But like I just did one for another marketing agency. They're a great marketing agency. I just know that this person wants some, there's I'm looking at this audit right now. There's 14 things that passed and 6 that failed. It's a good marketing agency, but we're gonna find some problems. You know what I mean? Like there's always something that could be done better. When people switch agencies, let's say, and they already have contractor commerce on the website, do you find some agencies like are resistant to using this as a conversion point because it could take away from some of their other more traditionally tracked conversions?
As long as there's good communication between the intent of what the technology can do and the agency, and then the why the contractor would be using contractor commerce in the first place, no. All of the tracking and all of those sort of things can be done. But at the end of the day, like you're giving your customer an alternative way to convert. So if a marketing agency has a homepage conversion rate of X, if putting stronger calls to action, like get an instant estimate on a water heater or instant quote on HVAC or something along those lines, can convert better and it can be trackable, we should all be on the same team. It's all a part of just making sure we know the contractor's goals and we're all aligned. But it's generally complementary, which has been the best part of really contractor commerce is, when we first started this company, we were the only person in the space doing it. There's few others now with some elements of what we do. But we got to be completely complementary. Like we are here to help the contractor turn more website visitors into hopefully revenue. And that complements every stakeholder, whether it's a marketing agency or a manufacturer or distributor or whatever. We want to make it easy for homeowners to do business.
Speaking of some of those larger players, the manufacturers, distributors, do you have any partners that are part of that are investors or anything in contractor commerce? What is the original seed money from? I'm curious. It was just your personal bootstrap thing. Did you have investors at the beginning? How did this play out?
No, really, really good question. So founder of the company is Will Hausch, who owned HVAC.com for about 10 years.
Okay.
And also was a contractor at one point, sold his family business in 2012, ran HVAC.com. And bootstrapped, no outside investors, tons of partnerships in the industry. We work with most of the major manufacturers. We have a unique element of our company is that we're, in some cases, we are a customer of most of the major manufacturers and distributors, and in some cases, some of their largest customers because of our scale with direct to consumer e-commerce elements like air filters, things like that. So we have a interesting place. Very, very unique company, but no bootstrap, no investors, and doing it the hard and fun way.
I love that. I think sometimes I don't know what I was really trying to get at there, but I think it is funny. It's a different game, right? When you have kind of uninvolved or like a little bit more like investors that aren't in the nitty gritty, like it's kind of sometimes you can get away with certain bad behaviors or like just YOLO some money out there. And it's not even bad. It's like there's companies I love that are doing crazy marketing stuff and doing huge, big moves. Doesn't mean you're a better or worse company. It's just sometimes I don't follow their footsteps. I'm playing a different game since my money was from scratch and I don't get to have additional somebody to just infuse it. So I just got to watch. I'm playing my game, not a different company's game because they're, they ingested a lot of capital and got to spend it somehow kind of.
Which are you talking about a company in particular that's on your radar?
I'm not necessarily, I don't want to say a particular name, but I'm more saying you know what I'm saying? Companies that get big investors. Honestly, all these AI companies, all the AI companies that are coming into space, they have just a gigantic amount of investment, right? It's beautiful. It'd be fun, but I also just don't want to take the example and you gotta play your the bootstrap game versus the investor game kind of thing.
So there are I can't even imagine how many marketing agencies there are, and I can't even I mean I could probably name 60 marketing agencies that are in HVAC. Which ones do you admire the most, or which ones are you modeling your growth after?
Um, that's a great question. I look at like right now, I look at like Rival. Honestly, there's some of them that don't like me, and I definitely appreciate what they've done. You know what I mean? Rival, I like those guys. They're cool. You know, there's a lot of great ones. You know, I mean, I think Rhino is like we've taken things from them. They're smart. I know Chris doesn't like me because we
Why
butted
not?
heads a couple times. We just butted heads a couple times. That's all. And I'm like, dude, I I appreciate that. I don't know if I handled myself always very great in those interactions. Um, I think CI Web Group has stuff to learn from. Like they're all their like their manufacturer connections are insane. They're just at the then these are people that scaled, right? Like the I like the niche agencies like versus like if you look over at like the Scorpion or whatever, you know, like it's just more broad and it is once you combine with all these other niches, it kind of like waters down the initial, you know, the hyper awareness of the market. Like, and now we're two, right? We're HVAC and roofing, and but now all of our people are getting super familiar with all the individual lingo and stuff like that for HVAC and plumbing a little bit, right? So the the context, right? Marketing is done best with context.
Yeah.
And the more context you have, the better marketing you can do. And that's why we sometimes go and visit these shops and follow high performers and stuff like that. But Relentless is another one that does things really well. As far I'm not like trying to copy any of these people. I just respect the hard work that they put in, and I see their growth, and I see their ability to do good work. I mean, I look at people's work, you know, and like I might even have bristle with some people's personalities or like whatever going on sometimes, but like I can see good work. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to respect that good work. And we like other like consultant type people and social like Jen McKee, Keyheart Media, Lemon Seed Marketing, some of those other companies that aren't necessarily direct competitors. I hope to be as good. You know, I hope to be in the running with these companies. I think that that's a leading pack right there with all those. I mean, I know there's other companies out there, but I personally think that's the leading pack. And sometimes it's not always that they're the biggest, right? There's huge companies out there that I don't know that I would like try to look at their work and be inspired.
Hmm.
So, you know, it's also just knowing what people are doing well. You know, there's some agencies that are doing business development extremely well, and we need to learn from that. There's people that are doing websites, just the best in class websites. And that's, I think, Rival is a very good example of that. Relentless does best in class local SEO. Like, so it's always like, I'm not trying to sit there and like copy anything or anything. I'm just noting that, hey, I need to level up in that area. And like, what do we have that can be wielded better to do better local SEO, for instance? What could we do better to make sure that our websites are up to the best? I want to be the best, you know? And I think coming from roofing, we actually were the best.
Yeah.
Which like I
Why
can, yeah,
are you still in roofing today?
yes, we are. And I still think we're the best, honestly. Um, it's just, it's a lower standard. It's a hundred, it's the same amount of companies, 100,000 companies, 10% or over, 20% or over a million or whatever that stat is. But
Yep.
so that's the real addressable market. But then HVAC sophistication level is much higher, and the industry is what is it, $400 billion industry versus $100 billion industry. So you've got this like I think that's built out. Some of these companies, Camp Digital is another pretty good one. I mean, you've got these like built out. They've been built out and in a little bit higher sophistication environment.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of really talented people out there. It's also HVAC is a good industry. So I'm
I think
excited. I mean, we're stoked out of our minds, Paul. Thank you for having us into your industry.
welcome. So you see the future like we do. It should
Yeah.
be easy for customers to get pricing online. Any other perspective around the movement toward contractors integrating e-commerce?
Yeah, I think that there's a big piece that is you can still use this for lead gen if you don't want everyone to check out, like, and I think
100%.
that like you should definitely be giving more information on pricing. That's like kind of what my talk is about at AHR is really just like talk about pricing more. And I think that that will benefit you and contractor commerce as well as benefit these contractors, which is somebody's going to give them the pricing information, whether it's Modernize or Angie or whoever. They're going to give it to them. You should be the one to do it. And if they want to hear it from you, you're the face of the HVAC industry for them. If the face is quiet, if the people they know, because the trucks keep driving by, is quiet about price, they'll go look somewhere else. But what if you could be the one talking about it? And that includes videos, that includes blog content, that includes financing options up front on your website right away. That includes tools like this so that the voice that they know is talking about this so that they don't have to go look at Angie and Modernize and wherever else, ChatGPT, to find the price for what their HVAC unit should cost because it's going to give generic information that's based on not their market, not their situation.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder, at what point ChatGPT will be able to start pulling in and aggregating all of the online actual estimates that are out there. I mean, obviously
Mm.
there's a lot to that, but yeah,
I
lot to
mean,
consider.
we're all a little scared of ChatGPT because it might innovate in some way, but it's like, your tool is amazing. The people that I talk to that use your tool love it. You've got some great champions out there right now. And
Oh,
whenever we're working on a website that involves it, we hope to do it justice. And I'm excited to feature you guys at our talk at AHR. And let me know if there's anything we can ever do to be a better partner. And yeah, just thanks for chatting with me about this today.
yeah, I appreciate it. You're ready for your talk. Run this transcript through ChatGPT and be like, give me five solid. No, you've got this.
You know I'm gonna too. This talk is half GPT'd already. You know what I mean? Like, and you know what's funny? Like I think I told you this, but I asked for stats because I'm always like on my presentations, I'm always asking for stats, and it pulled the ones from ACHR News or whatever that I think might have been an article referencing you guys and like some studies you've done. So like, just to cap this all off, it's the 70% of homeowners say they're more likely to do business with a contractor that has pricing information on their website. 31% have it. And a big one is that's up from 20% in 2023. So
Yeah,
20% to 31. That shows you how quick this is going and how quick it's going to go. And once half of these contractors have pricing information and a pricing calculator on your website, guess what that means? It means it's expectation. Everyone's going to need to have this. So 11% increase in 1 year. You know what? That's almost faster. That's almost faster than ChatGPT grew. It's going quick.
that's it's why I look so tired.
Yeah.
It's been, I mean, we built the category from 0 to 1, and it's really taken off, and it's quite obvious. And I would even even in that research, which I was involved with, the 30 to 31% that are claiming to have pricing online, one, it's self-reported, which is fine, but I wouldn't say 30% have fully installed HVAC pricing online or water heater pricing online or
Mhm.
generator pricing or EV charger pricing. I mean, because we've talked about HVAC here, but there's a whole new, think about when a consumer buys a Tesla and they're like, this, how do I plug this thing into my,
Yeah.
right? Into my garage. And they start that process. The same thing's happening there that we're helping with too. And so there's a lot
Mm.
to consider here. But yeah, there's a long way. HVAC has a long way to go, but the other trades are catching up. So
Let's go. I'm excited. So hopefully I get to be part of this with you a little bit by just helping popularize it just as a marketer in the space. We really push on these topics, like as in content calendars and stuff like that. Like we're really pushing on pricing, conversation, being more transparent. It's a big competitive advantage for people. So
Good. Well, I'm here to support, and we work with all sorts of agencies and would love to. I mean, those are things we can talk about offline, obviously.
yes,
I
sir.
don't know if this is intended to be recorded or not, but yeah, happy to chat about that, man. I
All
appreciate
right,
you.
thank you.
I was excited to see you talking about it more. I'm just proud that I'm not the only one talking about it
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. Let's go. Dude. Great topic. Great time. Thank you, Paul. Let me know if I can help in any other way. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Where can people go get this on their website?
Yeah, so go to contractorcommerce.com, hit learn more, or find me on LinkedIn. We'll connect you with someone from the team. But yeah, contractorcommerce.com, or go to ChatGPT and ask who the best company is, and you'll land there and you'll find us.
Perfect. And podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Hook Agency all over social media. Thank you, everyone. Peace.